not appear that there's any kind of an effort up there yet. Now remember, oh my God.
Oh my God.
That looks like a second plane.
I did not see a plane go in. That just...
Watching the news at 9 o'clock, and of course 9/11 happened, and the first thing we did was just call Bobby, and we couldn't get a hold of him. And anyway, by the end of the week, because of some great people, police work, we were able to find Bobby. He was identified from his teeth. He had just been to the dentist that week, or the week before, and one of the policeman had said, I think, let's go to, if he had dental work, let's go up and see if we can get any x-rays. And with those x-rays, we went to the morgue and we found Bobby and took him home on Friday. I want to know how my son was murdered. I know how he's murdered. I mean, why and who murdered my son? And we're not getting it from this. Certainly I wasn't in a position in 2004 to say, they did this, they did that, but they certainly were trying to cover it up. So when you think of it now in retrospect, you say, well, obviously the government covered it up. If you're going to blame people, that's where you start. They covered up this crime, so I don't care who's involved in it. So finally, I went up to the coroner's, to the, where we took him home from, and they told me that we can give you remains, but you have to send your DNA in. So we sent the DNA to the coroner's office. And then I came up and spoke to him, and he gave me all the information about how Bobby died. And even then I wasn't sure, but I knew if you look at his body at that time, and in a forensic report you have an outline of the body, he died of a tremendous force to the chest and head. And from that, talking to so many firemen, talking to so many EMTs and so forth and so on, and then seeing some people on the news about how these buildings were blown up. So then I really started doing the research, like architects and engineers, right about that time they came into existence, that these buildings were blown up. I never even gave it a thought in the beginning. So we're talking maybe 2009, and I finally figured out, I'm going to keep this to Bobby. The fact that I was an activist, or an anti-war activist, no one could argue that. They felt that was great. But now I'm suddenly saying, all right, this whole story reeks. From the 9/11 Commission report, I understood that this was a cover-up. So I said, what's the cover-up? We took a full body home and we buried a full body, which is, for 9/11 people, that's unbelievable. Not many people had a body to take home. So I'm very fortunate in that aspect. There's over 1,000 people. 1,000 people. So you're talking, what, 1/3 of the people that died in 9/11, that families had nothing. They don't have a fingernail. They don't have a toenail. They don't have a piece of skin. That means 1,000 people were vaporized. Well, I read the book Blanket of Dust, and I'm really looking forward to seeing the play. And the importance of the play is my feelings about 9/11 are in that play. The absolute frustration that someone who lived through it, her husband died in the towers. My son died outside the towers, but he died at that event. Her husband probably died from the explosions, the detonations, not from a fireball coming down there. So this whole idea that she's trying to tell the world that 9/11 was a false flag, that the government was involved in it. And her father is in the Senate, and she can't get anywhere with that. And she didn't know what to do with her frustration. I've had that opportunity. My frustration is I've gone around the world. And Diane in that book wanted to be, she was part of the peace movement. Peace movement, I'm a big part of the peace movement. And it gives you satisfaction, but the thing is, when push comes to shove, you still have that agony, the depression of what happened, and no one knows what the real answer is. And no one solved it or looking to solve it. So with this book and with the play, people around the world, I'm not speaking just in the United States, but they have to look at that. This was a real event, and how people were affected by it, and what Diane was trying to do in the play. And that is reveal who murdered her husband. And that's the only thing I want. And I don't care if anybody's punished. I don't think she was looking for punishment or anything. Just tell the truth. We haven't gotten the truth of what happened. And millions of people have died because of that. And that's the true beauty of Blanket of Dust.